Premiering in 1976, What's Happening was once a show that brought joy, laughter, and hope to an entire generation. But what no one expected was that the fates of the beloved actors who made audiences laugh would turn out to be so tragic. Some died in loneliness, some succumbed to illness, and a few miraculously survived to tell their own stories. Join us as we uncover their dramatic and unexpected journeys from 1976 to the present day, 2025. Mabel King as Mabel Mama Thomas. Mabel King was 44 years old when he played Mabel Mama Thomas, a strict but loving single mother who was the emotional anchor for her children in What's Happening in 1976. Her character not only brought laughter, but also conveyed a powerful message about maternal love. Mabel became the heart of the show, leaving audiences with an unforgettable image of a strong and devoted mother. Mabel King was born on December 25, 1932, in Charleston, South Carolina, USA. Though she found success on Broadway with her role in The Wiz, her personal life was filled with sorrow. Her marriage to Melvin King lasted over 2 decades but ended in divorce when financial pressures and fame strained their relationship. The most devastating blow came when her only son, Larry King, was shot and killed in a gun violence incident in 1989, leaving her completely heartbroken. In her later years, diabetes tormented Mabel day after day. The illness forced her to gradually lose parts of her body, from toes to both legs and even one arm. Each surgery extinguished a little more of her hope. Unable to walk or perform, she withdrew from the spotlight and lived quietly in a nursing home for retired artists. On November 9, 1999, Mabel King passed away in Los Angeles at the age of 66 due to complications from diabetes. At the time of her death, her net worth was estimated at around $500,000, most of it earned from her acting and singing career, though much had been spent on medical expenses. Shirley Hemphill as Shirley Wilson. In 1976, Shirley Hemphill played diner waitress Shirley Wilson, a sharp-witted, humorous woman who brought laughter to everyone around her in What's Happening, when she was just 29 years old. The role made her a familiar face to American TV audiences and turned Shirley into a symbol of strong, independent women in everyday life. Shirley Hemphill was born on July 1, 1947, in Asheville, North Carolina, USA. The daughter of a factory worker, she had to struggle from a young age to survive and chase her dream of becoming a comedian. Her personal life, however, was marked by loneliness and regret. She never married, had no children, and often admitted that she sacrificed personal happiness for her career. But after What's Happening, she faced new challenges. Diabetes and obesity gradually weakened her. Suffering from kidney failure and exhaustion, she had to undergo regular dialysis treatments and could barely work. Her deteriorating health caused her mental state to decline as well. The long illness led her to live in isolation, rarely appearing in public. On December 10, 1999, Shirley Hemphill was found dead in her home in West Covina, California, at the age of 52, due to kidney failure. Her body was cremated quietly after neighbors discovered she had passed away several days earlier. At the time of her death, her net worth was estimated at around $300,000, a modest sum compared to her contributions to television. Fred Berry as Freddie Rerun Stubbs. At 25 years old, Fred Berry appeared in What's Happening in 1976 as Freddie Rerun Stubbs, the fun-loving, energetic young man known for his hip-hop dance moves and trademark red beret. He was one of the 3 main characters, bringing humor, vibrancy, and becoming a symbol of 1970s black youth culture. The character Rerun turned him into a star overnight, loved by millions of viewers. Fred Berry was born on March 19, 1951, in St. Louis, Missouri, USA. Before television, he was a famous dancer in the group The Lockers, icons of funk style and street dance. Despite his success on screen, Fred's personal life was turbulent. He went through 6 marriages with 4 different women, all ending in heartbreak. Jealousy, infidelity, and substance abuse tore his relationships apart. Fred once admitted that he lost everything to fame. And when the stage lights went out, all that remained was loneliness and regret. Illness began to surround Fred Berry while he was still young. He suffered from diabetes, obesity, and battled alcoholism and drug addiction for years. His health deteriorated severely, and his weight gain made movement difficult. He tried to make a comeback through reality TV programs, but his poor health and fragile mental state caused those efforts to fail. In his final years, he lived quietly, finding solace only in his faith and his memories of performing. Fred Berry passed away on October 21, 2003, in Los Angeles at the age of 52 from a stroke brought on by complications of diabetes and obesity. At the time of his death, his net worth was estimated at around $200,000, most of it from his legendary role as Rerun, though much had been lost to debts and medical expenses. Helen Martin as Millie. Helen Martin was 67 years old when he joined What's Happening in 1976 as Millie, a kind, elderly woman who offered wise advice and warmth to the young group of friends. She appeared in several episodes with a gentle and witty presence, becoming a familiar image of the caring grandmother figure in 1970s American sitcoms. Helen Martin was born on July 23, 1909, in St. Louis, Missouri, USA. She endured a tragic childhood, losing her mother to tuberculosis and being abandoned by her father, growing up in an orphanage. Those lonely years made her resilient and fueled her dream of performing on stage. However, her path in the arts was never easy. She faced racial discrimination and gender prejudice during a time when black actresses were rarely given opportunities. Helen chose to remain single, dedicating her life to the stage, but that decision also meant enduring solitude in her later years. In her final years, Helen suffered from chronic arthritis, which caused her pain and limited her mobility. Despite her poor health, she maintained her optimism and continued acting in comedies like Good Times and Don't Be a Menace. Audiences loved her not only for her graceful acting, but also for her free-spirited personality. Though illness tormented her, it never took away her joy for life. Helen Martin passed away on March 25, 2000, in Monterey, California, at the age of 90 from a heart attack. At the time of her death, her net worth was estimated at around $400,000, a fitting reward for a lifetime of dedication and perseverance. Fritzie Burr as Miss Collins. Fritzie Burr was 53 years old when he played Miss Collins, a strict yet compassionate teacher. Her character was both an inspiration and a mentor, guiding her students through life's challenges with empathy and wisdom in What's Happening. 1977. With her dignified demeanor and warm, deep voice, Fritzie made a lasting impression, even in a supporting role. Fritzie Burr was born on May 31, 1924, in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, USA. Coming from a middle-class family, she developed an early passion for the arts and pursued a career in theater when she was young. Her only marriage ended unhappily. Fritzie endured deep emotional pain when the husband she loved left her for another woman. That heartbreak closed her off emotionally. She never remarried and had no children. The pain deepened when her beloved sister passed away from cancer, leaving a void that could never be filled. In her later years, Fritzie struggled with chronic arthritis, which made movement difficult and forced her to retire from the stage. She was also defrauded by her manager, losing her remaining savings and falling into financial hardship. As her health declined, Fritzie moved into a nursing home in Florida. Recurrent pneumonia led to repeated hospitalizations, and her body gradually weakened with time. On January 17, 2003, Fritzie Burr passed away in Fort Myers, Florida, at the age of 78 due to complications from pneumonia. At the time of her death, her net worth was estimated at around $150,000. Savings accumulated over a lifetime of supporting roles on stage and television. Greg Morris as Lawrence Nelson. In 1977, Greg Morris appeared in What's Happening as Lawrence Nelson, Dwayne's father, a calm and disciplined man who wanted his son to grow up with strong morals and structure when he was 44 years old. Though a supporting character, he embodied the image of a caring and responsible father, becoming a symbol of fatherhood on American television at the time. Greg Morris was born on September 27, 1933, in Cleveland, Ohio, USA. He began his career in local theater before gaining national fame as Barney Collier in the legendary action series Mission Impossible. Yet behind the fame was a life filled with contradictions. His nearly 40-year marriage to Leona Keys had once been his pride, but the pressures of work and financial stress slowly eroded their bond. Although they had 3 children, including actor Phil Morris, Greg felt increasingly distant from his family, especially in his final years as his health declined and his mental state became fragile. In 1993, Greg was diagnosed with lung and brain cancer, forcing him to retire from acting. The intense pain and chronic insomnia caused him to withdraw from public life, living in seclusion at his home in Las Vegas. He refused interviews, avoided public appearances, and kept in touch only with a few close friends from the entertainment industry. The illness drained his strength, memory, and the confidence that once defined him. Greg Morris passed away on August 27, 1996, in Las Vegas, Nevada, at the age of 62 from lung and brain cancer. At the time of his death, his net worth was estimated at around $1 million, largely earned from his television career and earlier action film projects. Thalmus Rasulala as Bill Thomas. At 37 years old, Thalmus Rasulala joined What's Happening. In 1976 as Bill Thomas, the father of Raj and Dee, a strict yet responsible man who constantly tried to teach his children the values of honesty and resilience. Though only a recurring character, he added emotional depth to the series, representing the image of a strong, compassionate black father on 1970s television. Thalmus Rasulala was born on November 15, 1939, in Miami, Florida, USA. He began his acting career on stage before entering Hollywood during the rise of the blaxploitation era. However, his professional success was accompanied by personal turmoil. His first marriage to Martha Roberts lasted 17 years, but ended in divorce, leaving emotional distance between him and his 3 children. Later, he married Sherlyn Mozingo, who stood by his side until his final days, yet the pain from his past never truly faded. The pressures of his career and racial discrimination in the industry left him battling injustice and the feeling of being forgotten by Hollywood. As he entered his 50s, Thalmus's health began to decline. He suffered from high blood pressure, but often ignored doctors' warnings to continue working. Determined to maintain his reputation amid the fading popularity of blaxploitation films, he kept acting tirelessly. A silent heart condition gradually worsened, leaving him dizzy and fatigued, though he hid it from everyone to avoid being seen as weak. After completing his role in Mom and Dad Save the World, he suddenly collapsed, bringing to an end a career defined by perseverance and strength. On October 9, 1991, Thalmus Rasulala passed away in Albuquerque, New Mexico, at the age of 51 from a heart attack. At the time of his death, his net worth was estimated at around $500,000, mostly from his standout roles in Roots and other iconic black films of the 1970s. Teddy Wilson as Marty. In 1976, Teddy Wilson was 33 years old when he played Marty, a familiar supporting character, a friendly, humorous, and charming man who brought warmth and laughter to every episode in What's Happening. Though not a main character, Teddy helped shape the show's everyday realism and friendly atmosphere, earning the affection of audiences. Teddy Wilson was born on December 10, 1943, in New York, USA. He began his career performing in small theater productions before breaking into television with his role in Good Times. Behind his bright smile was a private life marked by tragedy. He married young, but the marriage ended after their son died in a devastating car accident. The loss plunged him into deep depression, leaving lasting scars on his spirit and career. As he reached middle age, Teddy Wilson's health deteriorated rapidly. He developed diabetes and high blood pressure, leading to chronic headaches and exhaustion. Despite doctors advising him to rest, he continued working out of fear of losing his place in the industry. The mental stress and financial pressure only worsened his condition. Teddy Wilson passed away on July 21, 1991, in Los Angeles, at the age of 47 from a stroke caused by complications of diabetes and hypertension. At the time of his death, his net worth was estimated at around $300,000, a modest sum compared to the joy he brought to audiences throughout his career. Nathaniel Taylor as Rollo Lawson. Nathaniel Taylor was 39 years old when he played Rollo Lawson, the lively, funny, and slightly mischievous friend of the main characters in What's Happening. In 1977, Rollo quickly became a fan favorite thanks to his mix of troublemaking charm and warmth, striking a perfect balance between humor and emotion. With his relaxed style and natural acting, Taylor left a lasting impression on audiences. Nathaniel Taylor was born on March 31, 1938, in St. Louis, Missouri, USA. His personal life was filled with turbulence. His first marriage to Bernice Gordon Taylor ended in divorce, leaving him with 5 children and a deep emotional scar. Later, he married Loretta Taylor, who remained by his side until the end, but years of loneliness and estrangement from 2 of his children continued to haunt him. When his career began to slow down, he faced legal troubles. In 1986, he was arrested along with relatives for theft, a scandal that severely damaged his reputation. In the following years, Nathaniel's health declined significantly. He suffered from chronic illnesses that made movement and work increasingly difficult. Unable to continue acting, he withdrew from Hollywood and opened a small art studio where he taught acting to young performers. Though his finances were modest, his love for the craft never faded. On February 27, 2019, Nathaniel Taylor passed away in Los Angeles at the age of 80 from a heart attack, just 4 days after being hospitalized in an emergency. At the time of his death, his net worth was estimated at around $200,000, mostly from his classic television roles of the 1970s. Wolfman Jack as MC. At 38 years old, Wolfman Jack appeared in What's Happening? In 1976 as MC, a charismatic guest star known for his raspy voice, wild energy, and unforgettable presence. His short but powerful appearance brought the legendary radio personality to life on screen, thrilling viewers every time he showed up. Wolfman Jack, born Robert Weston Smith, on January 21, 1938, in Brooklyn, New York, USA, began his career as a DJ at underground radio stations in Mexico. But behind the fame lay a life full of tension. He married Lucy Lamb in 1961, and they had 2 children, yet their marriage was stormy. Fame brought temptation. Infidelity, exhaustion, and constant pressure caused him to collapse more than once. The death of his sister from cancer sent him into a deep emotional crisis. In his later years, Wolfman Jack's health deteriorated drastically. His relentless work schedule and lack of rest led to chronic heart disease. Still, he continued broadcasting weekly, believing that his voice was his mission, something he could never abandon. Doctors warned that another heart attack could be fatal, but he ignored them, choosing to live and work on his own terms until the very end. On July 1, 1995, just hours after completing his final radio broadcast, Wolfman Jack passed away at his home in Belvidere, North Carolina, at the age of 57 from a heart attack. At the time of his death, his net worth was estimated at around $1,500,000, the fruit of a lifetime devoted to American radio and music. Rosalind Cash as Loretta. Rosalind Cash appeared in What's Happening? In 1976 as Loretta, a guest character known for her strength, confidence, and intelligence when she was 38 years old. Though her screen time was brief, She made a lasting impression with her expressive voice and captivating presence. The role showcased the sharp, refined acting style that made Rosalind a standout talent on both television and Broadway. Rosalind Cash was born on December 31st, 1938, in Atlantic City, New Jersey, USA. She grew up in a working-class family and lost her mother at an early age, forcing her to become self-reliant. Because of that, she learned to seek love on her own terms. Rosalind once experienced a deep romantic relationship that ended painfully due to racial barriers, leaving her with sorrow and skepticism toward marriage. From then on, she chose to remain single, dedicating herself fully to her career and becoming a powerful voice for independent women in the entertainment industry. By the early 1990s, Rosalind was diagnosed with cancer. She fought her illness quietly while continuing to work, appearing in television projects and doing voice work until her health no longer allowed it. Despite the pain of chemotherapy, she refused to show weakness, always smiling, always resilient. The disease caused rapid weight loss, but the fire in her eyes and the strength in her voice never faded. On October 31st, 1995, Rosalind Cash passed away at Cedars-Sinai Medical Center in Los Angeles at the age of 56. At the time of her death, her net worth was estimated at around $800,000, mostly from her film and television roles, particularly in The Omega Man and General Hospital. Davis Roberts as Mr. Bradley. At 60 years old, Davis Roberts played Mr. Bradley, a respectable and composed guest character who brought maturity and dignity to What's Happening, 1977. He served as a moral figure amid the comedy, leaving audiences with a memorable impression through his commanding stage presence and warm, resonant voice. Davis Roberts was born on March 7, 1917, in Mobile, Alabama, USA. His marriage ended after years of differences, leaving him estranged from his children and fully devoted to his career. He earned deep respect in Hollywood for portraying intelligent and dignified black men during a time when such roles were rare. Yet behind the public admiration was a private loneliness and a lifelong struggle against social prejudice. In his later years, Davis suffered from lung disease caused by years of smoking. Emphysema made breathing difficult and gradually weakened him, forcing him to retire from acting. Despite his illness, he remained active in the NAACP, the organization advocating for black artists' rights, where he was one of the founding members. He often said that his greatest joy was not fame, but helping pave the way for future generations of actors to earn respect. On July 18, 1993, Davis Roberts passed away at his brother's home in Los Angeles at the age of 76 from complications of lung disease. At the time of his death, his net worth was estimated at around $400,000, earned over a career spanning more than 5 decades, with notable appearances in Guess Who's Coming to Dinner and Star Trek. Hank Rolyke as Barney Dunn. At 50 years old, Hank Rolyke appeared in What's Happening in 1977 as Barney Dunn, a humorous yet sincere guest character who brought lighthearted moments to the show. Though he didn't appear frequently, his charm and down-to-earth presence made his role memorable, especially in scenes with the main cast. Hank Rolyke was born on June 20, 1927, in Cleveland, Ohio, USA. His career was steady, but his personal life was far less smooth. He went through 2 failed marriages, both ending bitterly due to alcoholism and personal conflicts. With no children, he lived alone, finding solace only in his craft. Though he found success with supporting roles in Rocky and Rocky II, loneliness always lingered over his life. In his later years, Hank faced numerous health issues. After suffering a stroke, he was left partially paralyzed and had to rely on friends for care. Arthritis and other age-related complications prevented him from continuing to work. As his finances dwindled, Hank was forced to sell many of his personal mementos to cover living expenses. Hank Rolyke passed away on October 14, 2002, in Detroit, Michigan, at the age of 75 due to age-related complications. At the time of his death, his net worth was estimated at around $250,000, mostly from his supporting roles in television and film. Ernest Thomas as Roger Raj Thomas. Ernest Thomas was 26 years old when he became the heart and soul of What's Happening. In 1976, with his role as Roger Raj Thomas, the show's main character, a smart, witty, and ambitious young man who served as the center of every story. With his charming performances, warm eyes, and kind smile, Ernest quickly won the hearts of audiences across America, becoming a symbol of youthful television in the 1970s. Ernest Thomas was born on March 26, 1949, in Gary, Indiana, USA. His personal life, however, was not as smooth as his on-screen persona. He was once married, but the relationship ended after years of distance and work-related pressure. He had no children and later admitted that loneliness was the price of passion. After stepping away from the spotlight, he fell into a period of depression and even experienced homelessness for a time, relying on friends in the entertainment industry for support. Ernest's health suffered significantly due to stress and chronic insomnia during the years following What's Happening. However, he overcame these struggles through therapy and faith. Instead of chasing lost fame, he chose a new path, becoming a motivational speaker who shares his journey of overcoming depression and rebuilding hope with younger generations. As of 2025, Ernest Thomas is 76 years old. He continues to live in Los Angeles, participating in community events, occasionally appearing in independent films, and speaking at art and cultural seminars. His estimated net worth is around $500,000, earned through acting, writing, and inspirational speaking. Haywood Nelson as Dwayne Nelson. At 16 years old, Haywood Nelson joined What's Happening in 1976 as Dwayne Nelson, the lovable, intelligent, and optimistic teenager known for his famous catchphrase, "Hey, hey, hey." As one of the show's main characters, Dwayne brought youthful humor and warmth, making Haywood one of the first black teen idols on American television. Haywood Nelson was born on March 25, 1960, in New York City, USA. Despite his early success, his personal life was full of turbulence. He went through 3 failed marriages, his first brief union when he was just entering adulthood, a second that lasted over a decade but ended bitterly, and a third that dissolved in 2020. The emotional distance from his 2 sons after a tragic car accident deeply affected him, especially following the death of his older brother. It was a period of deep crisis from which he slowly recovered through faith and creative work. After years of pain, Haywood chose to heal through artistic expression. He studied architectural design and electronic engineering before moving behind the scenes in film and television, working as a lighting technician, assistant director, and production consultant. Though he continued to struggle with stress and depression, he found purpose in mentoring young artists and contributing to advancements in film technology. As of 2025, Haywood Nelson is 65 years old. He continues to live in Los Angeles, working in television production and serving as a technology consultant for entertainment companies. He is also a humanitarian speaker, often appearing at events encouraging young people to pursue their artistic dreams. His estimated net worth is around $400,000, earned through acting, behind-the-scenes work, and creative consulting projects. Nearly half a century later, What's Happening still lives on in the hearts of fans. But the real lives of its cast were filled with far more tears than laughter. Which story moved you the most today? Let us know in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe to discover more untold secrets of Hollywood.